I think it's time to finally start creating this main menu. We're going to go real simple, just have a background image, a start button, and an exit button. It's been too long, but I think we're trying to wrap up this demo, and so I'm going to show you how to do it. Let's get started. All right, so for this main menu, what we're going to do is we're actually going to need a new scene. So we have the main scene here. I'm going to go into my scenes folder, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to say create scene. Now it's just going to use the same template scene, and we're going to open that up, okay? Now what you want to do, if you go to File, you go to Build Profiles, you should be able to see that scene in the scene list. You can see here it's kind of unhighlighted. But now we've got a scenes main menu, probably because I had a different scene in a different folder. That's fine, it's been deleted. We have the two scenes here in this. I'm going to put main menu right above main level because that's the menu, the scene that we want to see first. And then we're going to close this. Now in our main menu here, what you're going to see in the bottom left corner, I will move my camera away from it a little bit so you can see. I'm going to create a UI object, okay? UI image. And you should see that immediately on that camera. And that image, we need to pull in some images that I already created. And let me show you a little bit of how I created these images. If you can go into ChatGPT, you can give it a scene. I'll show you what I did first. I said, hey, here is my scene. I need to create a main menu for this. This is the sample. It said, what kind of names do you want? It gave me this really sweet background, okay? I said, that's perfect. I said, okay, now I need some buttons, create some buttons for me. Obviously, we went through some back and forth on the naming, and it gave me this PNG of buttons. Now, these are not going to come out perfect. What I did is I took these into Photoshop, and I said, okay, the main menu, I'm going to move around a little bit. I'm going to put a title on it. All of these buttons I had to pump in and actually cut individually. And they're pretty easy to do that. If you want a tutorial on how to work through Photoshop, just really on that basic level, let me know and I can do that. But what I did afterwards is I said, okay, now I need to create a canvas. And this size is 395 by 125. The size doesn't really matter as long as it's uniform. It's the same for each button. And then I pulled in every single button in here and I exported them right on top of each other. That way, individual exports will show up the same size in your game. Because if you go directly to ChatGPT and you say create some buttons, all of these are, I don't know, they're a little bit off. They're not all the same size. And so you won't get the same result. Okay. So you do need to kind of edit them a little bit. If you don't really care, obviously you don't have to care about that. Now, if we go back into Unity, I'm going to pull in all of those images that we have, including the main menu image. We're going to toss them right into this image section. And then in this canvas, in this image, we're going to grab this first mission image, and I'm going to change this from a default texture to a sprite, and it's going to be a single sprite mode. That allows us to go into, yes, we'll save that, into the image and drag and drop that sprite right on top there. Now you can see we finally have it set up. I'm going to go to this area here, hold in the Alt button, and I'm going to expand that to the entire screen. Looking pretty good so far, right? Next up, what do we do here? Now we need some buttons. Let's go into that canvas. Let's say, okay, we need a new UI tool. Let's do button TextMeshPro. And we're going to call this start. Next, I'm going to do another button. We need UI canvas. We're going to do button TextMeshPro exit. So we've got two buttons. I'm going to expand these because they have text on them. I don't want this text. Remember, we have the images that show us something already. So now I'm going to go to this exit. I'm going to press W here. I think I got to go to this side and zoom out a bit. I'm going to pull this one down just a hair so it's underneath. Probably both of them, actually. I don't want them that high. All right, now if you remember what we did for the background, we're going to go into each of these buttons down here, and we need to change them to sprites. So we're going to go default texture sprite, and we're going to say single. It's going to ask us to save. Yes. Next one, default text sprite, single image, save. Yes. Got two more to do. Sprite, single image, save, yes. And the last one here, we need this to be a sprite and it's a single image. Okay. Now that we have those set up, let's go to that first start button. We're going to put in the source image as the dark one, right? And for the exit, we're also going to do the source image as the dark one. Now, if we go into this, you can obviously see it's a little bit stretched. That's not really what we want. But we need to know what size we had this before. So remember, if we go into Photoshop, image canvas size, 395 by 125. Oops, let's go to Unity here. And let's adjust this, 395 by 125. Super big. That's actually because the canvas size is not what we wanted. So 395 by 125. That's fine. Let's go into the canvas. Now, what we want here on the right-hand side, the UI scale mode, we want this to be scale with screen, okay, so that it scales with any screen size. And we're going to do the full 1920 by 1080. All right, that looks a lot better. Now we got the start button. Let's move that down, maybe underneath that ship. Let's move the exit button down underneath that ship. That looks pretty darn good so far, okay? Let me know if you like what that looks like. Let's change it so that for the start button, when there's a hover, if you look on the right-hand side here, the transition, you can do a color tint, which is kind of what we did in Photoshop or, in GPT. But since we already have the image, I'm going to change color tint to Sprite Swap. And this is the start mission, so I'm going to pop in the highlighted state there, okay? Now on the exit side, we're going to go to Sprite Swap, exit, highlighted state. Let's check and see if this is working. Boom, look at that. Highlighting, looking great, already doing what we wanted to do, but it needs some functionality, right? So let's go into our scripts. We're going to go here. Let's say we need a new script. I'm going to right click, create mono behavior script. We're going to call this main menu. Makes sense. We're going to pop that script once it loads here. It takes a second to load in. And we're actually going to attach this script. Let's do this. Let's do create empty main menu. This is going to be inside the canvas. And we're going to minimize these two, start and exit, and pop those right onto the main menu. And that script is going to live in the main menu. Okay. Now let's go edit that script. Let's see here. Let's edit that script. I'm going to double click on it. We don't need start and update. This is not necessary for us, but what we do need is our own main method here. Public void play game. So this is to start that game. Let us call, we're going to call a scene here. I don't know why that went over a little strange. Scene manager, load scene. We're going to find within the scene manager the active scene. And we're going to look inside the build index and we're going to add 1 to it, okay? So all that does is say, what's going on here? Does this need to be capital? Let's change this maybe. Build index. I think it's lowercase. Sometimes it'll give you issues here. Build index +1. Ah, I see what we're missing right here. And what else are we missing? We have those. Get active scene. We're missing one right here too. Is that it? What are we missing here? This one, this is inside that. Sometimes the code will just drive you nuts trying to do the context, right? Scene manager, load scene, get active scene, right? Build index plus. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what we got wrong there. Let's figure out here in a second. All right, the next one we're going to do is we need to exit the game, right? So let's do another one called QuitGame. There we go. And this one's just going to be very similar, Application.Quit. All right. We do need parentheses in there. I always forget those. This one, I'm not sure why. I think because we don't need this one here is what it is. We're closing it off too soon. Okay, there we go. So now let's go back to the main Unity scene here. And let me just pull this down so you can see that changes. And in this main scene, what you'll notice if we go to the start button, once it finishes loading, these start buttons will now have an on-click event for each of them. Let's add one event for both. just like this. And we're going to drag in the object as the main menu where that script was, right? So let's drag in the main menu. Boom, boom, each of them. There we go. And in this start button, we're going to go to the main menu method that we just created, and we're going to say play game. And in the exit button, we're going to do the same, but we're going to quit game, right? Main menu, quit game. That is really it. We've done it. Now, what you will notice when we do click play here is that we won't be able to exit the game. That's because we don't have the full screen open. It's not going to just exit Unity for us. There's a lot of work we can do to make it exit the play mode if we want. I don't really feel like it's necessary. When we launch the game, it should work fine. If not, we'll debug then. But let's take a look now. Okay, so we've got the game started. We've got the hover states. We can exit if we want to. We can start mission. Should send us right into the game. We did it. Not too bad, right? Let me know what you think if that was super simple. We could always, make it a little more pretty, maybe even make a settings button eventually. I'm not going to do that for this demo. One thing I may do is put a pause button in the main game so you can go back to the main menu, or you can at least exit the game from the play area. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. I will see you tomorrow.